Hey friends, this is Anayat and I'm at the beach, and I wanted to talk to you just briefly in this video about extraterrestrials. I know there are a lot of people talking about it. 2012 seems to bring out just all kinds of thoughts about the world and what's going to happen, so just wanted to do a level set for folks on where my understanding is regarding the whole ET subject. Just basically the history of the planet. We don't know what the history of it was. I certainly believe that there's a lot more to the stories than what we're told, to what's written down in the official history. And I would say it's fairly likely that whatever the truth is probably being kept from most people, just because the nature of this global society is one more of control and whatever you can do to make a buck rather than releasing information for free. So, were we visited by ancient civilizations? I would think so, just by looking at different places, archaeological sites on the planet, like places in Egypt and Peru, you know, the stories of the Dogon and Sirius, the star system, just a lot of information that really wouldn't have been known even about the planet Earth unless you were taking a perspective from space about the way the continents were laid out and everything. So generally I would say there's a lot more information and a lot more truth that is out there about our origins than is readily admitted, and most of the information would probably be poo-pooed by the authorities, because it's certainly not in their interest for people to realize that we're part of a cosmic, universal, larger society than just what's on this little planet here. Now specifically, I wanted to talk about where we are in terms of different people who are talking about, you know, claiming to be plugged into the Pleiadians or the Sirians and, you know, channel this information or whatever. I don't lend much credence to that. I think most of the people who are out there saying that they're channeling different races are in it for the money. And you could name a whole bunch of famous people who are channelers, and although there may be some, you know, genuine channeling going on, as far as I can tell, most of it is either out for a buck or people who were clear channels in the past, and then you know, they became more focused on the dark side and what the conspiracies are that are going around the planet and everything else. And I really appreciate someone who I consider to be much closer to a genuine source, and you can read his stuff, listen to his videos on YouTube, 777 Alaja, A-L-A-J-E. He has a lot of good points, one of being that a true teacher about spiritual information from higher civilizations, they're going to be interested in teaching you about love. And any spiritual master is going to be interested in helping you to become your own spiritual master, how to do self-development, and really how to connect to larger spheres and communities of information rather than worried about, you know, what the evil side is trying to do, if there is an evil side in all of this. And even just today, I had run into, in the last even day or so, I'd run into somebody, a woman who's on YouTube, who's pretty controversial. When you look at her stuff, it's kind of silly, but she claims to be plugged in. Anyhow, if you contrast, you know, making, you know, threats to the president that are supposedly coming through the ET races, you know, the ETs say, you know, if you try to do this, we're going to do this, all that kind of stuff. You know, when you're focused on this whole thing about what is the state of the planet, unless you stay very positive and very pure with your inner light, it's very easy to get distracted. And I think this is really the message about Alaja, what he's carrying, and if you contrast that to these other people, it's either about reacting or being a conscious creator. And I think the whole ET subject is interesting because it brings this out. Are you waiting for the ETs to do something, make their next move, what the government is going to do. You know, today it's body scanners, tomorrow it's who knows what. Are you in that kind of mode where you're just reacting to what's going on in the planet? Or are you staying somewhat detached from the silly drama that's going on in the news, the government, whatever you want to call it, economy? And are you more focused on creating your own universe of light and love? And, you know, for a long time I realized that the earth is kind of a school. It's more than a laboratory. It's kind of a soul education place. But the point of it is not to show people or yourself how smart you are, how much in control or how cool you are. But the point is, or the real passing grades, right, the real excelling grades from this place is, were you able to hold your light? Were you able to go through this process and still be a creator and be on this positive inflection point? Or did you get bogged down in all these dramas and all this, you know, nonsensical talk that's going on, and the plans and the dark whatevers, and you know, even if you spin it at its, you know, I've talked a lot about duality. Even if you spin it at its purest form of duality, which is the dark against the light, are you with God or are you with the devil? You know, that is still a game. That is still a mind trip. Because if you're focused on love, there's no room for anything else. If you're living in the light, nothing else can exist. And I think even the Bible talked about this, that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness couldn't comprehend it, couldn't overtake it, because there was nothing but the light. So for me, this is really the key to whatever 2012 holds. Whatever, you know, the rest of time this planet holds, is, were you able to hold on to your own light? Were you able not to get bogged down in television? Turn off the TV. Were you able to not to get bogged down in alcohol, cigarettes? You know, thinking that big time wrestling or pro football or any of these things meant anything. The team that you're rooting for doesn't mean anything. They're not you. Don't try to live your life through external experience. Don't try to live your life through another prophet or through somebody else or through a book that you think is the greatest book. None of that matters when you get to the point of realizing that you have to hold your light as a being for who you are. And once you do that, then you realize that the light that is inside of you is the light that's inside of everybody. And the light that's inside of you is the same light that is from God or Allah or whoever you want to talk about. And this light is the same light and the same life energy that causes plants to grow, causes the stars to go in their orbits. You're a carrier of that light as much as the planet Earth is. And for me, that's really the test from this lifetime. You know, it's beyond just consumerism versus spirituality. It's, you know, the true light, the true essence. And it's not even at that point versus anything, because that's all there is in your reality.